A member of the legendary Los Angeles Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, won 3 championships with them. Also a former NBA Coach of the Year, one of our favorite guests to have on the show, Byron Scott. Byron, welcome to the Odd Couple, man.
Rob, what's up? What's up, Chris? Always a pleasure, brothers. How y'all doing?
We are good, man. It's great to have you on. Let's get right to it. LeBron said he thinks Steph Curry's the MVP. I'm a voter. I had Nikola Jokic, and Byron, I take wins and losses. I take where you finish in the standings into account. That's one of my criteria, and I just couldn't put it as great as Steph was. He was phenomenal. An 8th seed. I mean, you better average about 45 if you're gonna win it as an 8th seed. So, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with LeBron that Steph's the MVP, or you got somebody else?
You know what, Rob? I love Coach as well. I mean, your pick. I'm sorry, Chris. Your pick is a great pick, but you know what? I'm going with Steph because of one reason. Well, a few reasons. Number one, he willed this team to the 8th spot. I didn't think at all when the season started, not having Clay, losing KD, and we know Wiggins is a guy that shows up every now and then. I thought it was a one-man show, and I didn't think they had a chance in hell really to even get to the 8th spot to make the playoffs. Period. So for him to do what he's done this year, to play the way he's played, I'm with you as far as the wins goes, Chris. You know I'm big on winning has to have something to do with being an MVP. But in this instance, I think just the fact that he was able to get him to the 8th spot, I'm going to have to go with LeBron. I think it's going to be close, but I do have to go with LeBron and say that Steph Curry has, obviously taken this team on his back and got him in a position to even be playing in a play-in situation.
I knew you'd side with the Laker.
This is going to be interesting because Chris doesn't think it's
and a shooter.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Chris doesn't even think it's going to be close. I'm with Chris. I want to ask you about Russell Westbrook. Obviously, what he's been able to accomplish is tremendous. But Scott Brooks, a little prisoner of the moment, the second greatest point guard of all time. Where are you on that?
No, Scott was smoking something when he said that.
Thank you.
I understand that, you coaching a kid and he's done some.
And that's your guy, right.
And that's your guy. You're going to have to back him, but I think you have to also be respectful and honest as well. And to say he's the second greatest, so you saying who, Magic's the greatest?
You got Magic,
right,
and then
Magic.
And then Russell instead of Oscar Robertson and some of these other.
Isaiah, there's a lot of guys.
Isaiah Thomas, like you said, there's so many guys. For me, when I played in the league, the toughest point guard I ever had to guard was Isaiah. I've said this on a number of occasions. Zeke was just a monster, man. I mean, he had that baby face, and he would, he'd give you a handshake and a smile before the game, but he's trying to rip your heart off, during the game. So to put Russell up there at number 2 or even in the top 5, I think is going to be, extremely difficult. Now, let's not take what he's done for granted either, and I think a lot of people do because he has had, a phenomenal season, a phenomenal career to this point. The things he did at OKC and the things he's doing at Washington are remarkable. But no, I'm not buying it. And I'm a big Russell, Westbrook fan because I just love the energy and the passion that he plays the game with.
I'm with you, Byron. I've got Magic, Steph, Isaiah, Oscar. Like those are the top 4 to me.
Yeah.
That 5th one's wide open. I mean, Russ, Chris Paul, John Stockton. One of your guys, Jason Kidd. And I think Kidd gets a little underrated. His shooting wasn't that efficient, but he was phenomenal. He was a triple-double guy, too. How do you compare him and Russ? Who would you rather have of those two?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think it depends on what you got around him. When I had Jay Kidd can win a game scoring 4 points and still dominate the game. Because he would dominate on the defensive end with locking people down, getting steals. He's going to be a instant fast break 8 out of 12 times because he's going to get the rebound and start it. And like you said, he wasn't a great shooter, but he could hit shots when the games were on the line. I mean, he was a timely shooter and made big shots. So I mean, it's hard to choose between those two because they play a similar style of basketball, except that Russ is more of a volume shooter, and Jason was a true, first, pass first, pass second type guy, but could still dominate a game without even having to score.
If LeBron and the Lakers get knocked out in this play-in scenario, will this be the last time we see it in the NBA? Or, I mean, somebody's head's going to roll if they're not in the playoffs and they get knocked out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of backfiring on them right now that they're even in this situation, where the Lakers could get knocked out in this first round. So, I think it would be to be honest with you, Rob, I think it might be the last time, period. I think
really
there's I think there's too many other players that are great players that have, that has spoken against it. Number one being LeBron, that don't like it. But, I've always just been old school. Top 8, let's roll.
Yes.
1 against 8, 2 against 7, 3 against 6. Let's just roll like it's been going. This playing, somebody can get hurt, like Steph Curry can get hurt. And, they're done.
Or what if LeBron re-aggravates right in game 1 and they lose or whatever?
Right, or Anthony Davis. So I'm not with it, to be honest with you. I like the old format of, the top 8 teams make the playoffs. The rest of you guys sit home and watch it. You had your chance. You had 72 games this year. You had 82 as a norm. You got 82 games to make the playoffs.
Right.
And
so we're rewarding people for not winning.
Right. So why give somebody a chance that's a 10th seed, a chance to make the playoffs when you didn't make it through 82 games? And like you said, you're rewarding that. So, no, I'm not with that. I'm with the old-fashioned just 1 through 8, and let's play basketball. Best team win. Let's move on.
Byron, you know as well as anybody the difference between the regular season and the playoffs. And
absolutely.
Rob and I both like Brooklyn. And we understand they're trying to do something that is completely unprecedented, where your 3 best players who are all stars. It's not even like 1 or 2 as a role player. But your 3 best stars only play 8 games together. Do you think it's possible, realistically possible, that they can actually either get to the finals or win the whole thing with that little bit of experience together?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that talent that they have over there, that talent that they have over there with those 3 guys alone, let alone some of the role players that they have around them, when you talk about, Blake Griffin and Jordan, Harris, the shooter. I mean, they got enough talent around them that understands what they're supposed to do every single night on the basketball court, and one of those 3 can take over any given time on the basketball court. Absolutely. With 8 games, they have a legitimate chance of winning the championship this year.
Does that – and Rob and I picked Brooklyn, so we're with that. But part of me also feels that might not be great for the league because what does it say? Dudes can just step on the court for 8 games and all of a sudden win the championship? I was talking with Rick Bucher on TV about it today. He said if they win, it is the official AAU-ification, of
but
the
it's
NBA.
Already been there, though. LeBron did
it's
the
been
AAU.
leaning that way.
No,
but this is different. AAU is coming together, but they at least played a season together at 2 before they won a championship.
Yeah, but
you know what he's
LeBron
saying, though, Byron?
This
does this start? Dudes just showing up together for a weekend and they win the whole thing.
I think Rick is right as far it sets a bad precedent for the league, and then as the league, as Adam Silver, now they got to think of a way where they can't allow this to happen, which I have no idea what that is, but. Yeah, it does set a bad precedent when you have a team that's played together 8 games together as Brooklyn has, but they got 3 major stars on that team that could, like I said, win a game by themselves at any given time and have done it. All 3 of those guys have been in a position where they've just carried the load and won games, so they're all accustomed to doing that. But I think as a whole, it does send a bad message to the NBA, and I don't know if the league office is sitting there right now saying, "Man, damn, we hope Brooklyn don't win this thing this year."
Right?
No, I hear you.
We hope they don't win this thing this year.
I know the league didn't want Mark Cuban to win, but that's another story.
Right. Yeah, that's a little bit more personal. You know what I'm saying?
Byron, you know what I'm talking about. Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Byron, great stuff, man. We appreciate the time, brother. Enjoy the playoffs.
Will do, Rob. Chris, always a pleasure, brothers.
Yep.
Anytime.
All right,
Take it
man.
easy.
See ya.
Bye-bye.